This video contains sensitive and disturbing content. Viewer discretion is advised. On a cold January morning in Fresno, 3 men armed with guns stormed into an apartment complex, pretending to be police. But when the real officers showed up, what followed was a chaotic pursuit across a college campus. And it all ended with gunfire, a K-9 takedown, and a safe falling out of a speeding SUV. At 7:20 a.m. in Fresno, California, a frantic 911 call came into dispatch. A man reported a group of armed suspects, some carrying shotguns, breaking into an apartment at a complex near North Backer Avenue and Shaw Avenue.
Hi, there's an armed robbery going down at Maplewood Condominiums right now.
What's the full address there?
North Backer Avenue, what unit?
And there's like 4 or 5 of them, they all got guns.
My neighbor just came to my house knocking.
They broke into my window and they said Fresno Police Department. And
Okay.
I saw, I looked out the people for a second, it wasn't the cops, and I ran out the back door.
And you guys are in unit.
Yeah,
I'm in unit house robberies.
I see them just keep going back and forth grabbing.
They got guns and stuff and they're just looting his house.
The suspects had smashed a window, claiming they were police officers to trick the residents inside. But it didn't work. The residents ran for safety, and that's when the real police started arriving. Surveillance footage captured the suspects moving in. One of them was clearly armed with a shotgun, and moments later, they forced their way into the apartment. Incredibly, one of the suspects drove their SUV right into the courtyard, backing it up to the apartment's front door. They ripped a heavy safe from inside and started loading it into the back of their vehicle. But before they could finish, Fresno police officers swarmed the scene.
K-14 to forward, it's in the middle of the complex. It's in the middle of the complex.
Copy.
It is here. Somebody hold shot. You feel like them.
Full sign contact.
Forward to K-14.
Officer number 1 spotted the SUV with 2 of the suspects standing outside of it. He shouted commands, telling them to get on the ground.
There! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! I got the car on the south side.
But instead of surrendering, the suspects jumped back into the SUV. The driver threw the vehicle into reverse, slamming into a building,
K-14, they're going back towards you.
then accelerated straight toward Officer number 1. Officer number 1 opened fire, discharging his weapon as the SUV barreled toward him. The suspects fled, leading officers on a high-speed chase through the streets of Fresno. The SUV raced northbound on Backer Avenue, then veered onto Shaw Avenue, speeding onto the south parking lot of Fresno State University. That's when officer number 3 decided to act. He intentionally rammed his patrol car into the suspect's SUV, stopping it. Without hesitation, officer number 3 fired multiple rounds through the windshield of his own patrol car. Amicho Mancia abandoned the SUV and sprinted toward the Fresno State campus. Officer number 2 jumped out of his vehicle and, believing Mancia was armed, also fired his weapon, but Mancia kept running. A police K-9 was released, and after a short chase, the dog successfully brought Mancia down. Back at the SUV, another suspect, 43-year-old Antoine Francisco Mancia, was still inside. Officers moved in carefully. They found the assault rifle Amicho Mancia had been reaching for, an AR-15 style weapon, and secured it. Antoine Mancia surrendered and was taken into custody without further incident. Meanwhile, officers provided medical aid to Amicho Mancia. He had a gunshot wound but was still conscious, and was also wearing body armor. Interestingly, his body armor showed no bullet impacts. Amicho was rushed to the hospital in stable condition. Antoine complained of pain, but had no visible injuries. Both men were later booked into jail. Amicho Mancia was charged with felony assault on an officer, robbery, and felon in possession of a firearm. Antoine Mancia was charged with robbery, carrying a concealed firearm, and felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition. Later, investigators recovered a shotgun and a bag from inside the original burglary scene. The safe the suspects tried to steal? It fell out of their SUV as they fled the complex. Days later, police arrested a third suspect, 28-year-old Aaron Gary, believed to have been part of the home invasion. He too was booked for home invasion robbery. The investigation into this chaotic and dangerous incident remains ongoing.